My name is Robert Alai Onyango. I was born in Nyando. I'm a father of 2 beautiful daughters. I'm a brother to 24 siblings, 20 being girls or ladies or women, depending on their age. I have 4 brothers. I also have kids I've adopted, them being the kids of my brothers who passed away. So I'm a father to more than 2. I'm running for the seat of MCA Kileleshwa Ward on an ODM ticket. I made this decision after realizing that we need to change a lot with the way we manage our cities. I think that I have a calling to serve the public, and public service is not a place for everybody. It is a calling to serve, just like being a teacher or being a policeman or being a soldier. Public service is very unique, that you come and serve the public. So I've seen a lot of challenges in Kileleshwa, high unemployment rate, no proper focus on the health needs of the people, roads, markets, the environment polluted. There's no good residential environment. The vice economy is moving into the residential neighborhoods, the traffic menace, the transport system is not well integrated and not well managed. Security and safety, lack of proper recreational facilities or public amenities to support a very healthy living condition in a modern residential estate or neighborhood like Kileleshwa. So I made a decision to come fight for the seat of MCA Kileleshwa, having realized that I could start by changing my neighborhood before moving in to change the constituency and eventually the country. The roles of an MCA are 3: to legislate, to oversight, and to represent. The average profile of the current MCAs in Nairobi is either you are a newspaper vendor, a thug, wa kawaida, matatu tout, or just some people whom you think should not even be considered for the post of MP. So everybody condemned them to running for the MCA, thinking that MCA is the least important seat in our political structure. But it's the most important seat if you check well, because this is a seat which is supposed to support you at the most basic level, and this is the seat which is supposed to be the anchor for the devolved units. There's lack of proper oversight, proper representations, and legislation to support a modern city like Nairobi, to take Nairobi to the next level. We have turned Nairobi into a crime-prone, high-density area with no proper public amenities, and every open space being grabbed by the grabbers, who are actually people who are supposed to represent you in the county government units, the MCAs and the governors, and also eventually to the MPs. This is why I decided to run, to be the change which I believe that should be there. I'm vying on the ODM ticket, like I told you before. And why ODM? ODM is the largest democratic party in this side of the Sahara. I think that in the Eastern Central Africa, there's no serious political party you can compare with ODM. It has built its credentials through a consistent fight for democracy and good governance. And this has been inspired by the profile of the founding leader, Raila Odinga, who himself spent 9 years in detention because of the fight for democracy and the rule of law. I believe that ODM is the best political party or political vehicle I can use to champion the issues of Kileleshwa. And being a member of the ODM means that also having the ideologies of belief in democracy and the rule of law, and pushing for the same in the county assembly. Before getting into the seat of the MCA, I did a research and realized that there are few issues which are very, very dear to the person who is staying in Kileleshwa, and one of them leading up there is the unemployment, lack of clean water, drinking water for cooking. There is lack for clear empowerment for the youth, women, and even men. There is no proper health facility. The educational infrastructure is not enough to accommodate the needs of the people in Kileleshwa. There is no proper management of the safety and the security. Pollution, from either noise or air, roads, markets, things like that, border, mama mboga, bursary allocation, and things like those. So I have a clear plan on what we need to do from my engagements with the people in Kileleshwa. I have a clear plan on how we can tackle some of the challenges which we are facing here. And that's why I decided to put them across to you that first, the issue of unemployment can be solved by us creating more opportunities first at the county by bringing in more focus areas in the management of the county, expanding the county management structure, increasing opportunities through the World Development Fund, and even the business opportunities at the county, ensuring that the payment is not delayed as it is the case now, and reducing the corruption. The issue of education is very dear to me, having been born from my father and mother were teachers, and you'll find that without their clear understanding of the need for education, some of us would have not made it through life. So the issue of education, we lack proper education infrastructure in Kileleshwa. We have one primary school, public primary school in Kileleshwa, and another public secondary school, Kenya High. The public primary school is Kileleshwa High, but we also have the private schools. We have the Loreto Convent Songari, St. Mary's, we have Goodrich, we have Angels, we have many more schools, Kenton's College, and so on. So we have various schools, private and public, in Kileleshwa, and they all need some kind of public support to ensure that there is proper learning environment, the support to teachers and students and the whole schooling community. There's less pollution around the schools. The environment around the school is good for learning and is not chaotic and inconveniencing to the schooling community. Yeah, so these are some of the issues which we need to build on. We need to protect the school playgrounds, ensuring that the schools are well fenced and their land is protected from grabbers who are now a threat to every little open space in the city. So some of the focus areas, like in schools, I think we can increase on connectivity to electricity, ensuring that the classes which from Kileleshwa Primary School are well painted and connected to electricity. We also ensuring that the playground there is well leveled and made good for the health or the safety of the kids. And also even building more schools. I think that there is opportunity to bring down some of the grabbed areas, and also ensuring that we build more schools to cater for the needs of the people in Kileleshwa. In Kileleshwa, we have two sublocations. We have the Kileleshwa sublocation and the Butangari sublocation. Butangari extends up to Waruku. So just a brief general overview of where Kileleshwa starts from. Kileleshwa starts from, if you're from the CBD, it starts from the Mamlaka Chapel, to along the Wayaki Way up to Kianda School. So from Kianda School, you get into Waruku, behind the Kianda School, Waruku. Then from Waruku, you follow along the river, that's the border of Kileleshwa. You get up where Loreto Convent of Songari on, you take James Gishuru up to the roundabout of Olengrone Road. Yeah. So then you take Olengrone up to Othaya Road. So from Othaya Road, you go straight up to Quickmart, but also those are the borders of Kileleshwa. Then you take back to Alai and back to Arboretum and back to Mamlaka Chapel. So Riverside Drive is in Kileleshwa. Westlands, Raptor Road is in Kileleshwa, United Club is in Kileleshwa, parts of University of Nairobi, Kileleshwa, Jekwat Westlands is in Kileleshwa, Loreto Convent, St. Mary's School, Mutangari Drive, ABC Place, and so on, Ibi Style Hotel, those are Kileleshwa. Yeah, so those are the borders of Kileleshwa for somebody who doesn't know. Some people assume that Kileleshwa is Kileleshwa Estate. Kileleshwa ward political boundaries are larger than Kileleshwa Estate. The whole of Mutangari Estate is in Kileleshwa. Water is a problem in Kileleshwa generally. One part of Kileleshwa has almost no supply of water. That's Waruku and the lower class part of Kileleshwa. Then you have other part of Kileleshwa where you have water in somewhere. Some people have drilled their own private boreholes, but also there are people who are living in those areas who are depending on the city water supply from the Nairobi water. And water is a challenge because of many reasons. First, the capacity which is being supplied to Nairobi now is not enough. We require more than 530 million liters every day, but the county is only able to supply around 300 million liters every single day. So this is a challenge in that everybody is not getting enough supply. So what happens? Everybody tries to drill a borehole, and the borehole, they go up to 300 meters averagely in Kileleshwa to get the water. And the biggest mistake is that people assume that when you drill borehole and the water comes out, then that water is good for your consumption. Most of these drilling companies don't look at your well-being, and so the water is not properly purified. So there's a very big health risk now from the water which we are using from the borehole. The safest water which we have in Nairobi should be the Nairobi Water Service. Nairobi water supplied from the Ndakaini Dam. So the borehole water is full of fluoride and eventually affects the bone, whether drunk or it's used to grow some vegetables in our backyards and so on. The other funny thing in Nairobi is that you find that some people have Olympic-sized swimming pools, and somebody in Waruku doesn't even have a drop of water and travels maybe 2 or so kilometers to get water on vibuyus in the city. So with the help of the governor, Igathe, I think there's a very clear plan to increase the supply of water to the city by building in more supply channels. That one is under the Ati Water Services project. It is going to be a boost to the current supply. We have a lot of water cartels who either interrupt the supply of the water or just sabotage the management to ensure that the other supply channels are not completed for the boost of production of water to Nairobi. As an individual, I believe that we cannot say that we can build an oil pipeline from Mombasa to South Sudan, but we cannot build just a water pipeline from the many sources around here, from the many dams around here to Nairobi, and ensure that we are water safe and we have enough supply or even more. So I think that we have to fight the very many challenges in the provision of water to ensure that people have safe drinking water and water for usage. Borehole cannot be the answer to the lack of proper public water supply in the city. So getting into the county leadership, that one is going to be one of the first challenges which we are going to handle with the help of the Governor Igathe and the presidency of Raila Odinga, to ensure that you have proper supply of water. So Nairobi is facing a lot of pollution, air and noise pollution, various, the river pollution, the water pollution in the estate. You have the Kirichwa Kubwa and the arms of Nairobi River. This pollution is affecting our health in a great deal. If you are going to sleep or learn in an environment where the air is polluted by the noise or the bad fumes from the cars, then it's a challenge to us. So we have to enforce our standards to ensure that we don't have high vehicle emissions in the city. We also have to ensure that the residents have peaceful nights and a good learning environment, especially, you have a lot of bars near schools and bars in residential areas. Suddenly, I think the vice economy moved from the CBD into the estates, the residential areas, and now a section, like Othaya Road, we have that whole area in a few years will be fully owned or controlled by bars, and it's affecting the living conditions of the people in that area. So it's something which we are very much aware of. It is something which is best handled when we have the office, because it's a huge challenge, and it is enabled by a very corrupt system of enforcers and the county leadership and the political leadership. So it's not something which we can talk about and start challenging now, but you can only handle it with the help of the governor and the president when we are in office. But it's something which I believe that if we are handled well, then we can restore sanity. I've seen others, pollution, regards to pollution. Hera Aqua Gardens used to be a very noisy pub, but they have deployed structure. They have improved on their noise absorption levels, noise insulation levels, to ensure that even if you pass near there now at night, then you're not going to hear the loud music from it. But there are some which are not doing so well, and so the residents are complaining day in and day out, and the police is not very helpful, because either they have been made powerless, or the owners of this establishment are deep-pocketed and are able to get away with a lot of things. Yeah, so no single institution can handle it alone, from the NEMA to the Nairobi Enforcement, the Liquor Licensing Board, to the Health Ministry, and so on. So I believe it's something which we need to handle well, and it needs to be controlled from the neighborhood association level, which needs to ensure that they are able to monitor and to report to the authorities when we have such pollutions. I believe that also the vehicle pollution, with the help of the Ministry of Environment, we can ensure that we enforce standards of pollution. The vehicles are almost unroadworthy, so the kind of air you breathe in the city is not good for you, and you find that you develop a lot of health complications because of the air you breathe in. Also, I think with a lot of outbreaks of the airborne diseases, we need proper ventilations in residential areas. Most of the buildings are built without regard for ventilations, the airflows, and so now you find that some buildings are permanently damp, wet or just dark, and so they have to use a lot of energy to ensure that they are well lit, or to ensure that they are warm enough for human habitation. But also you find that the kids living in those areas are almost getting sick. So these are some things which, in regards to pollution, is a key thing which I think we need to handle to ensure that Nairobi or Kileleshwa is a very safe living area for the residents. The next issue, which is very close to my heart, is the roads and the market. So this is the infrastructure. So the roads infrastructure is being improved on, especially on the upmarket section of Kileleshwa. The Waruku area is still not through. We have roads there which are dusty during the dry seasons, but also very muddy during the wet seasons, in Waruku. But also in the upmarket section of Kileleshwa, there are roads which have not been made for a very long time. NMS has tried the best it can, but I don't think that NMS standards should be the maximum standards we expect of this city. I think they came in and filled a vacuum where there was lack of leadership from not only the executive leadership of Nairobi, but also the assembly wing. We have not seen a proper monitoring, representation, and oversight, and ensuring that the roads in Nairobi are made and the money meant for such are allocated for such. So the road network is being improved. I think it should be improved and also with the focus that we have the motorized and non-motorized access areas. We have the walking paths. I think that the few open areas left in Kileleshwa need to be reserved for people to walk in. We have a very good sizable population of Kileleshwa, people who are now getting into the senior ages, you know, the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and they don't know any other home. They are going to retire. I've met residences who are almost getting into their 90s, and this Nairobi Kileleshwa is their retirement place, but the living condition in Kileleshwa is now not being very friendly to them. I think those ones we need to improve on. We need also to improve on the disability movement. The roads, are they disabled friendly? Are we ensuring that the walking paths, you know, are safe? Pedestrians are not knocked while they're using them. You know, boda are not using the pedestrians' walkways as riding paths, and so on. The other thing in the infrastructure, you know, segment is the issue of markets. You know, the food markets. Why is the middle class suddenly everybody's moving to buy food from Chandarana and Carrefour and other supermarkets? Because the food market next to your estate is not some place you want to go and buy food from. So most of the people are running away from the vegetable stall in their estate because the standard is not something they can trust. So what we are going to do, I think, with the help of the governor, is that we are going to recommend standards for the kiosks in the estate, you know, the vegetable shop, the food shop you're depending on, or the grocery store, and so on, so that the kiosk should have a very standard way of being built, environmentally friendly material, yeah, you know, safe, not used for a hideout by criminals who attack at night and so on. So these kiosks should be well lit, you know, well aired. You know, they're in places where the residents can access them at any given time without risk to them. And also residents can trace the food they buy from these kiosks to the farm, because sometimes it is a great health risk when we buy food we don't know where it came from. So this is something which I think if we standardize the size of the shop, the infrastructure of the food markets, you know, the infrastructure of the grocery store in the estates, then it's going to help a lot. We also have to standardize the kind of, you know, the convenience stores which we have around, so to ensure that, you know, the aesthetic value of these our neighborhoods are improved on. So I think that's something which we, as a representative of the people, it is something which I will give a great focus.